Hey YouTube, it's Dimitri, and today I just want to do a quick video on getting the most out of grad school here. So I have been really excited. I'm seeing the posts on LinkedIn of all the different programs that are, starting up and kicking off the new school year here. So many of you are starting your quantitative finance masters here. Even if you're starting your undergrad, a lot of this advice will apply to you as well. But I'm going to provide a few tips here on how to get the most out of your grad program here. So the first one is going to be make friends, and don't just make friends with people of your country or nationality. So this is a huge roadblock for international students. You come from China, you come from India, you come from, Italy, Brazil, somewhere else. Kenya, and you find people look just like you. And so you just congregate in these little groups, and all the Chinese kids hang out together, and all the Indians and all like the different countries all group up. Those of you that come from a country without other people like you will benefit far more because you're going to have to assimilate and mix, and you're going to network and meet a lot of different people here. But if you're one of those big groups like China and India, do branch out, do find friends and contacts and interests in other people that are outside of your groups here. You'll find out like me here. So it has been over a decade now since I left Michigan. So my big Michigan shirt on here. It's been over a decade since I left, and I have been hiring in the last 5 years here. And half the time I'm like, oh, I wish I just had a contact that had this great, skill set that I went to school with, that I knew personally, that'd be a great fit. And unfortunately, a lot of times I got too busy and my head's down in the classwork, right? The schoolwork that you're working on, and you don't make those contacts here. So again, network with the students around you. You are not competing with them. I know it seems like you're competing with them because there are only so many jobs available. You'll find out though that yes, getting the first job is extremely challenging and very difficult. But at the same time, having friends and contacts and people to support you will make it easier for you and your friends. It'll also make your career grow much faster later down the road here. The second tip is going to be do informational interviews. So probably the number one question I get from grad students is, Dimitri, what electives should I take? And my response is, it depends. And that's not the answer that you want to hear. But it depends what you want to do. And it's hard to figure out what you want to do because you've never done it. And you're just taking all these classes for the first time. You're diving in. I was thinking about quant finance education recently, about some videos I was making. And it's the hardest, I think, skill set degree to teach because you're trying to teach math and then you're switching to stats and then finance and then programming, and then some people are often like optimization realm within computer science things, and there's all kinds of things you can do. It's really hard to focus in on this. So the best way to do this, in my opinion, is to do informational interviews. So call up alumni or students who have graduated in the last few years. Typically your programs have a list of students that have graduated in the last year or two. Get some information from them, right? What classes did they like specifically, and what job are they currently working in, and was it relevant? Now, in general, take math and stats. I know you think getting a good GPA and taking a bunch of easy peasy finance classes is going to make you look great. The reality is most of us on the quant side, so if you're doing quant development, quant research, that sort of thing, we don't look at GPA. I don't really care. I'm more concerned with which classes you took and do you have the relevant information to do the job. I don't really care if you have like a 3.0 or a 3.2 or a 3.3 or, great, you have a 4.0, pat on the back. But anyways, do the informational interviews because talking to people in the industry will give you an idea of what the job's actually like, the skills they use. Start to think about like work-life balance. So there's buy side versus sell side. Most people go into sell side because there's more jobs available in there, and then you can transition over a little bit. But buy side's fun and exciting too, but you're not going to have as much of a work-life balance as you are on the sell side. So again, do informational interviews. That is going to be the second point. And the third and final point here is going to be lean in here. Really get involved with the grad programs here. So I know it is challenging, but try to view this as a whole perspective as well, because you will literally blink and it will be gone. So I'm sitting here almost a decade later, wishing I wish I could be back in grad school. It was pure hell in many instances. They were just shoving coursework through, and we were rushing and trying to get to the end of that. And you're optimizing time, and you don't have time to do anything, and you just need to hurry and pass this class, and you're reading all these textbooks. And part of me is, lean into that, really like develop and try to understand the actual ideas. Don't just memorize the content to pass the exams. Because again, I don't really care what you got on the exam. I care that you know the information. But leaning into this as well of like really doing research and getting involved with your studies here. So if you have some extra time, make sure that you're actually spending that time wisely, because you're only going to have a year, year and a half in most programs, 2 years if you're lucky like myself. But at the end of the day, you're only going to have a limited amount of time. And I find most grad students don't spend enough time really getting fully involved in the master's program. Part of this too is trying to juggle all the fun things as well. So don't miss out on the social aspects as well. As I mentioned, like networking with colleagues and friends. So doing homework with classmates is great and wonderful. Also, don't forget to go out to dinner once in a while. I know I didn't have much money in grad school because nobody was paying for me, but trying to do some things with other students, go to sporting events as well. Often the sporting events are really cheap. Michigan, not real cheap, but I went to a football game when I was there and it was a blast. I used to go to these basketball games, the women's basketball games, which are just dirt cheap because no one wants to go to women's sports. And it was great. And you got a free ice cream at the end of it if you went to this pizza place. But anyways, the third piece here, though, is going to be really lean in and absorb the experience here. I find too many students are just trying to check the boxes, trying to get through the program too quickly. Really try to dive in and get the full experience of the social aspect as well as the classes. So really read the textbooks, learn the information, try to absorb it. I know it is like drinking from a fire hose. It is not an easy process in grad school, especially if you go to a top-notch program, which is really churning out top-notch students with a lot of rigor and a lot of pressure on your students as well here. So don't forget to have fun. Don't forget to enjoy the experience. It will be tough if you're taking good, solid courses, but doing that will make you a better person in the long run. And you will look back on it. And I know I never thought I would say this, but I absolutely loved grad school and I wish I could go back into academia. So anyways, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. And as always, until next time.